Hello and welcome to Board Game Gumbo. Today we're unboxing Bushido, released by Gray Fox Games in 2018. This is a two-player game that plays in 20 to 30 minutes. So here's our rules booklet. We've got some punchboard here for different tiles in the game. So these are just health tokens here, I believe. And then we have guard tokens, which each player will have. We have some defensive tokens here. So there is armor you can have during the course of the game. These actually denote that you can't have armor, but it'll make more sense when we get to the boards. And we have some different tokens here. These are rage tokens here at the top. And this is all thick chipboard, punches out easily, no problems there. Each player is going to get a player board. So obviously you have the hits you're going to take during the course of a round. And then at the end of the round, you're going to determine how much damage you can take. Because your opponent may hit you 4 times, but you may have armor or dodge that will reduce that down to 1, in which case you're only taking 1 damage. And you can see here, if you ever take 5 or more hits at the end of a round, you're going to immediately lose. We got a little turn order cheat sheet down here, which really explains the majority of the game. First thing you're going to do is you're going to either play a technique card or you're going to change your guard. Your guard is here. And your guard, as well as adding dice to whatever you roll, when you change your guard, you get to recover any technique cards that you've played already, and you get a rage token. Then you're going to roll any dice. So the combination of the dice that your technique cards give you plus your guard. You're going to resolve damage. You're going to resolve your dice, which means you're going to assign damage and then negate damage with blocks or dodges. And then you're going to resolve damage, collect anything from your holding area, and then you'll check to see if anybody has won before going on to the next round. And the game will continue until somebody has lost all of their health or are dealt 5 or more wounds in a single round. So you've got 2 dice here, and these are just to track your health, each player starting with 12 health. We've got a bag of dice here. There are 3 types, red, blue, and gray. Red are typically attack dice. They have more hits on them. They also have essentially what's a burst. So if you roll this, it counts as a hit, and you can re-roll another die, or even re-roll this one for potentially more hits. The blue dice typically have dodge on them. That's how you're going to negate damage that your opponent does to you. And the gray dice have some dodge, some hits, but also armor, which is another way to prevent damage. At the beginning of the game, you're going to get a certain number of cards, both technique cards and weapon cards. You can see on the board there's spots for each. The weapon cards, you're simply going to get dealt a certain number of them, and you're going to choose one to pick. And your weapons do a couple different things. One, they may limit the amount of armor you can have. And also they give you different abilities depending on what your guard is. Some of these weapons even prevent you from using different types of cards. For instance, this one, you cannot use the strike card, but it also gives you 4 armor. And then you're also going to get a certain number of technique cards. Now there's 2 ways to do this. You can just shuffle them up and deal them out randomly. The way I prefer it is drafting. So when you draft, you're going to put out 4 cards at random, and then you're going to, one player is going to take 1, another player takes a second one, and then 2 are going to get discarded. And you're going to do that several times until you have a full deck. So as I mentioned, the main thing you're going to do on your turn is either playing technique cards or changing your guard. And your technique cards are going to determine, first of all, what type of dice you roll. So this one would let you roll 2 red dice and a blue dice, plus whatever your guard is. And then they'll give you some ability as well. One thing you can also do is if you play, for instance, this dodge card, you could choose to also discard another card of the same type to add additional dice to your attack. But all of these cards, once you play them, are discarded until you take your action to change your guard, at which point you'll recollect your technique cards. And that's it. That's everything you're going to get in a copy of Bushido from Gray Fox Games.